And China has just rolled out a brand new battery that could quite literally spell the end of gas-powered cars for good. And honestly, this is exactly why I enjoy covering China. Every single day, they're out there cranking out technologies that rewrite the future while the rest of us argue about charging ports. But China's tech push goes far beyond some fancy new battery. Today, I'm breaking down 4 major breakthroughs China has pulled off in 2025 advances that are going to pay dividends for years, whether the West likes it or not. From a record-breaking bridge to world-class AI systems to nuclear energy surprises, if you actually want to know where the real innovation frontiers are, this is the video you watch. All right, let's get into it. I've been covering China's electric vehicle rise for years. EVs keep gaining traction worldwide, sure, but they've still had one big annoying problem: limited range and constant recharging. Well, China apparently decided that wasn't acceptable anymore. Their newest battery lets an electric car travel over 1,000 kilometers on one charge, meaning you could drive from Los Angeles to San Francisco and back without ever stopping to swap anything. Yes, you heard that right. Chinese scientists basically created a self-healing battery, yes, healing, as if the thing goes to physical therapy overnight, and it's going to reset the entire EV industry. Here's the deal. Normal batteries run long enough, and tiny cracks form between components, kind of like the way American highways crack after a week of traffic and a decade of government excuses. Those cracks cut efficiency and shorten battery life. So what did Chinese researchers do? They whipped up a special iodine-based glue that automatically flows to damaged spots while the battery is running. It fills gaps, reseals the structure, and keeps the whole thing functioning exactly the way your skin closes up after a cut. And thanks to this formula, the new battery can store 86% more energy than its predecessors, something no other scientist on the planet has even attempted. I'll leave the full story in the description below. But that takes us to China's second big flex of 2025, the tallest bridge ever built. This engineering monster sits in Guizhou, one of China's poorest provinces, and somehow, unbelievably, was completed in just 3 years and 8 months. It cuts the travel time across the canyon from 2 hours down to 2 minutes. That's not a typo. And get this, China is literally outdoing itself because the previous record holder for world's tallest bridge was also a Chinese bridge built in the exact same province back in 2016. The new Huajiang Grand Canyon Bridge rises more than 2,050 feet above the river and is expected to supercharge local tourism. It has a high-speed glass elevator that rockets visitors up to a coffee shop perched 2,600 feet above the water. You can bungee jump off it, soak in waterfall views, stroll a 1,900-foot high glass walkway, or just stare into the canyon and contemplate your life choices. This bridge has been blowing up American social media, mostly because people here cannot believe China built it in under 4 years for only $300 million. It's been half a century since the United States attempted anything even remotely this ambitious, and frankly, Americans have forgotten what a functioning government is capable of. The comparison people keep making online is brutal. The Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore collapsed last year after being hit by a ship. Most of the structure is already there, and yet the repair job is expected to take 4 years and cost $2 billion. Meanwhile, China built the tallest bridge in human history from scratch for a fraction of the price and in roughly the same time window. Honestly, the whole situation reminded me of a tweet I sent last month, where I shared footage of the world's largest train station in Chongqing. Whenever someone asks me, Cyrus, what's China actually like? I always joke I'd tell you exactly what China is like, but you probably wouldn't believe me anyway, because a whole lot of Westerners still can't wrap their heads around just how far China has surged ahead. But let's move on to China's third major breakthrough of 2025. And this one's all about AI. And here's the twist. One of America's biggest tech companies is powering its entire AI ecosystem using Chinese, not American technology. Yeah, go ahead and let that sink in. It's wild, especially when you consider how AI is rapidly reshaping the job market. Nearly half of the global workforce is terrified of being replaced by algorithms and automation. And if you're feeling the pressure too, pay attention because I've partnered with Outskill to bring you a 2-day live AI mastermind that's already been attended by more than 10 million people worldwide. Outskill is hosting this live training this Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Normally, this program costs $395, but my subscribers get in for free. You'll walk away AI certified, learn how to build automated workflows, master AI tools, and even pick up the blueprint for launching an AI-powered business capable of generating over $5,000 a week. It's rated 4.9 out of 5 on Trustpilot. And the instructors include mentors from Microsoft, OpenAI, NVIDIA, Google, you name it. In just 16 hours, you'll pick up more than 10 AI tools. Learn to use AI in Excel and presentations. Start designing your own agents and workflows and join a community of builders inside their streamlined dashboard. Attend both days and you unlock bonus materials worth over $5,000, including a prompt Bible, an AI monetization roadmap, and your own personalized toolkit. Grab your free spot through the link in the description and join their WhatsApp group so you don't miss anything. All right, back to Chinese AI, because this next part is the real plot twist. One of America's biggest tech companies, Airbnb, has quietly chosen Chinese AI to run its entire system. Brian Chesky, Airbnb's co-founder and CEO, made headlines last month when he openly admitted the company relies on Alibaba's Qwen model as its primary AI engine. Just think about that for a second. China's AI capabilities have advanced so far that a top American company isn't just choosing a Chinese model over ChatGPT, they're using a model developed by a company that isn't even China's top AI leader. DeepSeek still sits ahead of Alibaba, yet Airbnb went with Alibaba anyway. Chesky said ChatGPT simply wasn't ready for the level of integration Airbnb needed. Meanwhile, Alibaba's Qwen was fast, efficient, and most importantly, cheap. And that leads us to the two key differences between Chinese AI and American AI. First, open versus closed models. The U.S. pours billions into closed source, investor-driven systems, creating a massive speculative bubble, funnier than anything the dot-com era ever saw. Some analysts say this bubble is 17 times bigger than the dot-com bust. Even Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, has admitted the industry is ballooning out of control. China, by contrast, takes a completely different approach. Their AI models focus on real-world applications, and more importantly, they're open source. Open source models don't obsess over pumping investor stock prices. Developers can customize them freely, which makes them far more attractive than the lockdown giants in the US. To date, Alibaba alone has released over 300 open source AI models, supporting more than 170,000 derivative models. That makes it the largest open source AI ecosystem on Earth. Alibaba co-founder Joe Tsai recently said, the real winner in AI won't be whoever builds the strongest model, it'll be whoever adopts AI the fastest. And with China emphasizing cost-efficient, open source systems, they're positioned to adopt and deploy far faster than the US, which keeps burning billions, building trillion parameter behemoths that only hedge funds can love. The second major distinction in China's AI philosophy right after open source is their obsession with doing more with less. You've probably heard the hype around the DeepSeek model, but researchers at Huawei have now taken that breakthrough and pushed it even further. DeepSeek already shocked the industry by using around 2,000 specialized chips, while Western models need 16,000 or more just to keep up. Even more unbelievable, DeepSeek used about $6 million worth of raw compute power, a tiny fraction of the obscene amounts Meta burns through on AI every year. And now Chinese engineers are doubling down on this beat the West using pocket change strategy. For years, the US looked like it had a decade-long head start in AI. China didn't have the same access to cutting-edge hardware, so on paper, they shouldn't have been competitive. But instead of giving up, Chinese researchers pulled off the unthinkable. They figured out how to squeeze maximum performance out of less advanced chips by clustering them thousands at a time into massive, highly coordinated networks. These clusters can now rival the performance of Western systems that rely on far more powerful and far more expensive components. This achievement even forced NVIDIA's CEO, Jensen Huang, arguably the most important figure in global AI hardware, to say something no one expected to hear. China has some of the best entrepreneurs in the world because they come from some of the best STEM schools in the world. We're up against a formidable, innovative, hungry, fast-moving, underregulated. Okay, people don't realize this. They're very lightly regulated. I heard people say China could never build AI chips. That's insane. Then I heard China can't manufacture. Are you kidding? Manufacturing is the one thing China does better than anyone. And claiming they're years behind? 2 years? 3? Come on, they're nanoseconds behind. Nanoseconds? Yeah, nanoseconds. We've got to go compete. You heard him. The guy who literally sells the chips powering the world's AI boom thinks the gap between the U.S. and China isn't measured in years, but in nanoseconds. But here's the catch. All of these massive chip clusters and next generation AI models require staggering amounts of electricity. And that brings us to China's fourth major breakthrough of 2025. Its monumental advancements in nuclear energy. Take a look at this chart showing projected power demand for AI data centers alone. Now compare it to the 2025 outlook. The current demand is already straining the U.S. power grid to the breaking point. And the coming decade is going to make today's problems look adorable. The reality is the American electrical grid is nowhere near prepared for the power requirements of AI. Electricity output in the US has basically flatlined for more than 20 years. Meanwhile, China's energy production has climbed almost nonstop year after year, keeping pace with the needs of a modern, industrial, hyper-digitized society. In fact, in 2024, China generated more electricity than the US, the EU, and India combined. One of the biggest reasons they've been able to do this is because China embraced nuclear energy while the West spent decades arguing about it. And China didn't just embrace it, they improved it. A chart comparing US and Chinese nuclear reactors makes this painfully obvious. China is building new reactors at a blistering pace, and the cost per watt is consistently among the lowest in the world. Meanwhile, the U.S. struggles with aging reactors whose operating costs are often double those in China. And China isn't just expanding traditional nuclear power. They're pioneering next-gen tech as well. Earlier this year, China brought the world's first thorium reactor online. They're also smashing records in nuclear fusion, achieving plasma temperatures 6 times hotter than the sun. To meet future energy demands, the United States would need an enormous national project spanning every energy source imaginable. But politicians on both sides, Democrat and Republican, have repeatedly shown they're nowhere near capable of rising to that challenge. As a result of this unprepared grid, big tech companies have started planting gigantic data centers in tiny towns all across America, essentially swallowing up the local electrical supply. And to make things even worse, these companies didn't just use the power, they passed the inflated energy costs straight on to local residents. In some of these towns, electricity bills have skyrocketed, jumping a staggering 267% in just the last 5 years. You want a snapshot of the difference between two governments? This is it. China has spent decades preparing its energy infrastructure for exactly this technological era, relentlessly expanding capacity instead of coasting on past achievements. Meanwhile, the U.S. government has been frozen in place more focused on short-term political battles and overseas conflicts than on upgrading its own foundations at home. And the result is obvious. China isn't catching up anymore. China is blowing past the West. From game-changing solid-state batteries to infrastructure projects that make Western efforts look like weekend hobby kits, to nuclear breakthroughs, the U.S. can't even dream of matching China is proving it's not waiting for permission to lead the 21st century. These four-stories batteries, infrastructure, AI, and nuclear power are just a small sample of the breakthroughs happening in China right now. And honestly, I could have highlighted dozens more from this year alone. That's why it's crucial to get your information from people who've actually spent time on the ground in China, people who understand what's happening inside the Middle Kingdom, instead of relying on outdated narratives. As always, thank you so much for your incredible support. And be sure to sign up for the free AI training from Outskill. This is an amazing opportunity, and I'm grateful I can share it with all of you, my loyal subscribers. Thanks again for being here, and I'll see you all in the next video.